right, Rich Freeman on the show floor here at NerdioCon 2025, and I am with Steven Karachinsky. He is with ZIRO, a vendor. I thought I knew them all.
Okay.
Steven, I am brand new to ZIRO. Tell our audience a little bit about what you do.
For sure. So we're new in the MSP space, which is maybe why you haven't heard of us as much. So we're in the team calling space. What we try and do is think of us, we're here at NerdioCon, so think of us like the Nerdio for Microsoft Unified Communications. We help move those on-prem PBX workloads into the Teams tenant. Got a wonderful platform that does that automatically, and then we continue throughout on day 2 and help customers manage this technology simply, easily, and then the beauty really starts, is when we start to leverage all of that rich data for Copilot and whatnot. So it's a real communication play, and it's not about phone systems for phone system's sake. We're really after that rich, valuable data and make the experience simple and easy for our customer, for MSPs and their customers. It's all about enabling them.
What are some of the issues, the roadblocks, the headaches that MSPs will run into doing that migration, doing the management that you guys are going to automate? And how much time are you saving them?
So a ton. So I'll start back on what we're saving them. So we've got some data where our time to value for an MSP doing a migration is 70% faster than anybody else on the market. And that's really because we're solving those customer issues and what the MSP deals with along that journey. Let's start right off the bat when you're meeting a new customer and they want to change their phone system. You go up to them, you start asking them 20, 30 questions about what do they have, how are they set up, who are their users, what are their numbers. No one has this information. None of it's documented. This telephony is one of the few places where you can get away with not writing anything down. So part of what our capability is, we go into those systems, we scan those PBXs, we pull all of the data automatically and organize it into the right format, not just so that it's ready for Microsoft, but so that we can actually start having a data-driven conversation with the customer. There's one great area where we save a ton of time. The second one is just dealing with the telco. Most MSPs don't have that core telephony telecom background. I don't mean networking, I mean telephony. And so dealing with things like porting, things like that become massive, massive hassles that we really take care of for them and make it simple and easy. So managing DNs, all of that sort of thing, just even figuring out what numbers are assigned to the right telco. You would think in 2025 it's easy, it's not. And so our whole goal is, instead of MSPs shying away from this technology, we want to kind of enable it. Make it so simple and easy that, one, they add this to their revenue capability because the revenues are significant, and treat it as a competitive advantage to really get into that, deeper into that Microsoft ecosystem and start being able to play with Copilot, where there's some use cases that are a little bit easier to digest around sales, customer service, and whatnot. So those are some areas where we can really affect change.
So the really good stuff, after the migration, on top of the management, the really good stuff is the data and what you can start doing with it once you've begun collecting it. Tell folks a little bit about that.
Yeah, so first I think you got to appreciate that this data is probably some of the richest, most valuable data there is, because yes, there's tons of chatting, there's tons of texting going on, but when something's really important, you got to pick up the phone and have a conversation. And when we're talking about those things, I don't mean just necessarily PSTN calls, because you and many people might say to me, no one's picking on the phone anymore. But I'm even talking about the Teams calls that are going on all day long as well. So think about that as what's rich. And then what do we do with it? Well, we can start mining it for inference, sentiment, just finding out what keywords are saying. Think about from a sales conversation where we're leveraging it in our organization, is so we're recording all the calls and we're getting to see what's going on. If a customer says something to one of our salespeople, I'd like to be sure that our answer was the right one, we presented our solution in the right way. There's also our salespeople, there's only so much they could do at one time when they're listening, but they're also thinking. Having that assistant with you to point out what the customer just said and maybe give me a prompt of how I can interact a little bit better so that I don't miss something, hugely valuable. Even just some of the basics of recapping these conversations with to-dos, it's amazing how much information is lost. And I know transcription is not sexy and it seems very pedestrian and boring, but if it's actually used and applied properly, the gains are tremendous. So it's either we're checking back in the data to see what we can learn for it, or providing real action, almost like an agent assist in real time. And I'm not talking contact center, I'm just talking a regular phone call that me and you might have. It's pretty powerful stuff. And so we're playing with a lot of these different use cases and just getting started. It's a really exciting time.
for folks out there who would like to learn more about ZIRO, maybe get in touch with you, where should they go?
www.gozero.com. Check us out on LinkedIn. Check me out. Be a pleasure to have a conversation, and really appreciate you making the time, Rich.
I appreciate you making time for me, Steve, and introducing me to ZIRO.
Thanks, my friend. Keep well.